Isaiah chapter 17. The burden of Damascus. Understand, Damascus is taken away from us being a city, and it will be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They will be for flocks, who will lie down, and no one will make them afraid. The fortress will also cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They will be like the honor of the children of Israel, says Yahweh of hosts. And in that day it will come to pass, the honor of Jacob will be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh will grow lean. And it will be as when the harvestman gathers the corn and reaps the ears with his arm. And it will be as he who gathers ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaning grapes will be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outmost fruitful branches of it, says Yahweh of Israel, Yahweh Elohim of Israel. At that day will a man look toward his Maker, and his eyes will have respect to the Holy One of Israel. And he will not look to the altars, the work of his hands, neither will he respect that which his fingers have made, either the groves nor the images. In that day will his strong cities be like a forsaken bough and an uppermost branch, which they left because of the children of Israel. And there will be desolation, because you have forgotten the Elohim of your salvation, and have not been mindful of the rock of your strength. For this reason will you plant pleasant plants, and will set it with strange slips. In the day that you will make your plant to grow, and in the morning shall you make your seed to flourish. The harvest, however, will be a heap in the day of grief and of desperate sorrow. Woe to the multitude of many people who will make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations who make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations will rush like the rushing of many waters, but our Elohim will rebuke them, and they will flee far off, and will be chased like the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. And behold, at eveningtide trouble, and before the morning he is not. This is the portion of them who spoil us, and the lot of them who rob us. End of chapter. Amos chapter 5. Hear this word which I take up against you, a lamentation, O house of Israel. The virgin of Israel is fallen. She will no more rise. She is forsaken upon her land. No one is there to raise her up. For thus says sovereign Yahweh, the city that went out by 1,000 will leave 100, and that which went forth by 100 will leave 10 to the house of Israel. For thus says Yahweh to the house of Israel, Seek me, and you will live. But seek not Bethel, nor enter into Gilgal, and do not pass to Beersheba, for Gilgal will surely go into captivity, and Bethel will come to nothing. Seek Yahweh, and you will live, lest he break out like fire in the house of Joseph and devour it, and there be no one to quench it in Bethel. You who turn judgment to wormwood, and leave off righteousness in the earth, seek him who makes the 7 stars in Orion, and turns the shadow of death into the morning, and makes the day dark with night, who calls for the waters of the sea, and pours them out upon the face of the earth. Yahweh is his name. He who strengthens the spoiled against the strong, so that the spoiled will come against the fortress. They hate him who rebukes in the gate. They hate him who speaks uprightly. For as much as for this reason as your treading is upon the poor, and you take from him burdens of wheat, you've built houses of cut stone, but you will not dwell in them. You've planted pleasant vineyards, but you will not drink wine from them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just. They take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor in the gate. Therefore the prudent will keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, so that you might live, and so Yahweh, the Elohim of hosts, will be with you, as you have spoken. Hate the evil, love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that Yahweh, Elohim of hosts, will be gracious to the remnant of Joseph. And for this reason, Yahweh, the Elohim of hosts, Yahweh, says this, Wailing will be in all streets, and they will say in all the highways, Alas, alas, woe, woe, and they will call the husbandman to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing. And in all vineyards will be wailing, for I will pass through you, says Yahweh. Woe to you who desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Will not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. And though you offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. You take those things away from me, the noise of your songs, for I will not bear the melody of your viols. But let judgment run down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Have you offered to me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Israel? But you have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and hewn your images, and the star of your Elohim which you made for yourselves. And for this reason will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, says Yahweh, whose name is the Elohim of hosts. End of chapter.
Mark chapter 7. Then came together unto him the Pharisees, and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands they found fault. For the Pharisees, and all the Jews, except they wash their hands often, do not eat, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, they do not eat. And many other things there be which they have received to hold, such as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said to them, Well has Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of Yahweh, you hold the tradition of men, such as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things that you do. And he said to them, Full well you reject the commandment of Yahweh, that you might keep your own tradition. For Moses said, Honor your father and your mother, and whoso curses father or mother, let him die the death. But you say, If a man shall say to his father or mother, It is Corban, that is to say, a gift by whatsoever you might be profited by me, he shall be free. And you suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of Yahweh of none effect through your tradition, which you have delivered, and many such like things do you do. And when he had called all the people to him, he said to them, Listen to me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from outside of a man that enters into him that can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any has ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he said to them, Are you so without understanding also? Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from outside enters into the man, it cannot defile him, because it enters not into his heart, but into the belly, and goes out into the draught, purging all foods? And he said, That which comes out of the man, that defiles the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. And from there he arose and went to the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into a house, and would have no man know of it. But he could not be hid. For a certain woman, whose young daughter had an unclean spirit, heard of him, and came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. But Yeshua said to her, Let the children first be filled, for it is not right to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. She answered and said to him, Yes, master, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. He said to her, For this saying, Go your way, the devil is gone out of your daughter. And when she was come to her house, she found the devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed. And again, departing from the coasts of Tyre and Sidon, he came to the Sea of Galilee, through the midst of the coasts of Decapolis. And they bring unto him one that was deaf, and had an impediment in his speech. And they beseech him to put his hand upon him. And he took him aside from the multitude, and put his fingers into his ears, and he spit, and touched his tongue. And looking up to heaven, he sighed, and said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And straightway his ears were opened, and the string of his tongue was loosed, and he spoke plain. And he charged them that they should tell no man. But the more he charged them, so much more a great deal they published it, and were beyond measure astonished, saying, He has done all things well. He makes both the deaf to hear and the dumb to speak. End of chapter.
YHWH. do.